Time to record. Testing. I recently revisited Born the Heron, made by everyone's favorite animated filmmaker Hayao Miyazaki's latest film. If you stumbled upon some of my shorts, I made a video about Born the Heron and how I thought it wasn't Miyazaki's best work. So in preparation, I rewatched the movie and, well, just run the B-roll.
In New York, I merely rock, hiding in my socks, running from a and I shoot at and I'm on the block, and I'm on the block.
Okay, it still suffers from the same issues as before, pacing and lack of character depth, yada yada yada. We're gonna get to all that, don't worry. First, I want to do something different. Why don't we look at what happens when this type of film is executed the right way? Many of you are probably already familiar with this movie if you follow Miyazaki's work, or shit if you even watch movies in general. Yes, Pluto Nash in 3D.
Eddie Murphy is
Pluto Nash.
Pluto Nash.
It is a pleasure to meet me.
No, seriously, Spirited Away. But Pluto Nash is a great film. Really funny. There are many parallels to be drawn. Other films could fit, but this one fits the best, I think. So every time I make a point, I'll draw a connection to other films. Like that, will essentially watch both and critique both. Got it? Good. Now, almost every problem in Born the Heron comes down to pacing. Like literally everything, which is truly a shame because on paper, the plot of this film is beautiful. During a time of war, a mother battling sickness is moved away from her child. A distraught son, Mahito, our protagonist, unable to cope with the death of his mother, lashes out. His father was moving on with another woman. His mother's sister at that, although I'm pretty sure this is customary in Japanese tradition. During this time, Mahito meets a gray heron, which becomes a very significant character. He's basically the guide or the passage between both worlds, the one that Mahito's in, the real world, and this new dream world. His stepmother runs away because she can't bear with the grief and the sadness of the circumstances of the war, her having a child, Mahito not accepting her as his mother, and so on and so forth, and of course her sister's death. She goes to this alternate realm where souls go to rest, but this world also represents a place for Mahito to cope. This world signifies those who have given up on life or maybe even passed on from their former lives. If Mahito wishes to stay, it can be interpreted as almost a suicide, choosing to leave his former life to instead be the ruler of this world. His decision to not stay shows Mahito's growth and maturity. He's reconciled with the fact that his mother is no longer there. He's been able to grieve and process it and has grown as a person. Instead we got, well, let me explain. Miyazaki is no stranger to expansive, vibrant, imaginative worlds, so what gives? In Spirited Away, we were introduced to the amusement park for the supernatural. Within 10 minutes, the extremes of Miyazaki's imagination are radiating off the screen. The inciting incident of her parents turning into pigs, then she meets Haku, the staple character in all of Miyazaki's films that follows the character, right? Almost like a friend. Textbook film structure, hook the viewer within the first 10 minutes, and then that translates to roughly 10 pages in a screenplay. Conversely, we aren't transported into Born the Heron's magical world until a whopping 45 minutes in runtime. That's damn near half the film, people. Mahito's goal is not very clear. He basically just chased a strange bird around for what seemed like hours. Anyways, that's not entirely a bad thing. Plenty of films wait until later to fling their protagonists into new worlds. The film does also a half-decent job of keeping the audience intrigued throughout the first 45 minutes. That's not really the problem for me. The problem lies, and I think for most people as well, after 45 minutes. After those first 45 minutes, I should say. Specifically this scene, which lands roughly an hour and 30 in. This is a crucial scene because it informs Mahito and the audience of the rules of this new world. Mahito can leave whenever he pleases, he simply needs to open the door to his home realm, you could say, and walk through. The problem is that the rules of this world are introduced far too late in Act 3. A story, at least in film, suggests a character with a problem, and solving or overcoming said problem leads to drama. Unfortunately, we don't understand the rules of this world, and the obstacles that Mahito will face are introduced far too late. If this movie was 30 minutes longer, I could honestly see it working. Shift back to Spirited Away. Within 30 minutes, we know how the abandoned amusement park is also a bathing house for souls. We know Chihiro's goal of turning her parents back to normal, and along the way, a couple of supporting characters are introduced. We also meet the main antagonist, Yubaba. Does Chihiro know exactly how she'll achieve her goal? No, but that's okay, there's still an hour and 30 minutes left, infinite ways to build tension from here on. Characters are unraveled, Haku's and Chihiro's feelings if they've known each other for years are revealed. The subplot of Konohashi, who represents loneliness, emptiness, and the search for identity through external validation is iconic, unforgettable, but also doesn't distract from the main plot. Switch back to Boy and the Heron. Who is this old guy telling me the fate of this magical world relies on me uniquely stacking these blocks? And also, by the way, this world is going to be destroyed in 24 hours. One of my biggest issues is that compared to other Studio Ghibli films, this film doesn't have a moment to release that tension. Watching Boy and the Heron feels like a flat line, whereas one of the most impactful scenes from Spirited Away is when Chihiro remembers Haku's name from a river she was drowned in when she was younger. The weight of this scene is heavy, the music comes rushing in. It's honestly more dramatic than the ending itself, where Chihiro passes Yubaba's final test and her parents turn back to human. Watching Spirited Away feels like riding a roller coaster, exploring the whimsical world Miyazaki sets up for us, whereas Boy and the Heron feels like driving on the highway, and not one of those scenic routes either, like Vermont 100. It's like the I-80 across Nebraska. Like it's not fun at all. Or at least not that interesting. It's flat throughout. Any moments that should have been impactful came off as unsatisfying and unresolved. It isn't that it lacks impactful scenes, there's just zero